Hello, I'm Chris, this is my Jaguar. I'm a composer, guitar teacher, general shoegazer from the northeast of England. Today we're going to have a look at power chords. Humble, but can actually be used to create some really beautiful, complex shoegaze songs and riffs. By the end of this video, you'll be in really good stead to write a shoegaze song today. I'm hoping this inspires a lot of people to have a lot of good ideas. Is it even a chord? We'll call it, for the purposes of today, we'll call it a chord. Alright, we're all agreed? Let's go. People might look down on this simple chord, a chord that's used by, very well by magnificent bands like Nirvana, Green Day. My Bloody Valentine certainly use them. Now there's a few ways why it's a wise choice to use a power chord. One would be, these are genres that tend to traditionally, not always though, use a lot of distortion. And when we start adding more complex chords like 9s, 13s, just even sevenths or major minor chords, the distortion might tend to muddy everything up and make the notes clash with each other more than they normally would. Now our brain likes this sound. The distance between those two notes, and this is about the only theory that I'm going to talk about today. Everyone's desperate to talk about functional harmony in music theory, but one of the good things about power chords is that we can kind of stop thinking about it and write almost much more organically. Our brain likes that noise. The interval, the distance between the two notes, is a fifth. It's the sound from the start of the theme tune to a popular sci-fi movie series. Our brain really likes that. It can hear it, it can distinguish it very well. Now I don't have much distortion on there, but we don't have to use it with distortion on. In shoegaze, would kind of maybe glide strum that. I'm going to show you how we can vary it up, and we can write with it. We can write shoegaze tunes. We can make quite complex progressions just with the basis of using these two notes. Now that's one way of playing it, just these two notes. You can add the octave to that. So here I've got a C. There I've also got a C. So I can add that. So I'm using 3 fingers. We can also invert it, so we can put the root at the top, the highest note, if you will. This is more like a smoke on the water style power chord. Already sounding pretty nice. One little variation that I'm going to show you that's used a lot in rock music now. Johnny Greenwood uses this a lot. If you listen to the start of the bends, he's doing this. If you play that 3-finger power chord, but you take away the 5th, you're just left with the octave. Now these go together very well. Playing power chords, then octaves there. Another variation that I'd use, and I won't use too many variations, is the power chord plus a major 7. That's very good for shoegaze. Normally with a major 7 would be adding the 3rd to make it, well, the 3rd is what makes it major or minor. We've just got a root, a 5th, and the 3rd, then the major 7th in there. Now one of the reasons that power chords are so good as well is because we don't have to think too much about functional harmony. If we're playing triads, we're playing major and minor chords. We kind of have freedom. We can play whatever we want to, it's our world, but we might start to get little clashes a little bit more. Because the power chord is neutral, it's much easier to use, so if I'm playing something like that with majors and minors. Oof. We start to get into clashes, and we can sort that out. We can sort of, yeah, we can make it sound good, but it gives us less freedom to just organically write with. We don't have to think about whether the major third and the minor third clash. All right, so a lot of the time when I'm writing backing tracks, I use power chords because it's just much easier to work with. Because it's such a neutral chord, everything almost works without anything. You can just play by ear quite easily. So one of the ways that we use this in shoegaze, which frees us up a lot more and gives a little bit more interesting tensions, is this is used a lot. Smashing Pumpkins use it all the time, and I know they're kind of shoegaze adjacent. A lot of people might get hung up on this and think, well, what chord am I playing here? Don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. We're just adding the open strings in, all right? And it gives us lush tensions that we weren't kind of expecting, all right? Now I might put the chord name up here. It's completely incidental. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter what the chord's called. Just leaving those open strings in. We can just move around and see what sounds good and what sounds bad with those open strings left in. I'll do a little bit of glide strumming, i.e. I'll move my whammy bar around a little bit. Move on to the bottom set of strings. Still adding some open strings in there. I'm just improvising with this here, but we're already coming up with something that sounds... We're getting some pretty good ideas for some shoegaze sounds here. So what about if we start mixing this idea with some octaves? And we'll leave the open notes in when we're playing the octaves. That's actually used by Johnny Greenwood at the start of High and Dry. He doesn't use the whammy bar like that, but you know, I can't help myself. Just making this up. I'll try to make it sound bad. If you try to make it sound bad, you end up sounding like Sonic Youth and you accidentally sound good. There's a lot of dissonance in there. Try to make it sound bad. That's the task for you. Try to write bad music. Honestly, it's a really good little fun exercise. So people might think, well, how do I add to that? How do I make bigger, lusher chords? Well, first of all, why would you want to? That sounds awesome. But remember that all we're doing with a chord is the highest note in it will sound like the melody to our ears, especially if we're playing just with a guitar, all right? The highest note, if there's a singer singing higher than the guitar, then yeah, that's going to sound like the melody. But if we're playing just with a guitar here, because we're writing with the guitar, the highest note will sound like the melody. So, and the lowest note, imagine this, what's it going to sound like? Correct, the bass. So, bass. We can just add. We can just. One of the greatest things about power chords, we're only using 2 fingers, so we can just start to add other notes in. Now we don't need to worry about what chord that is. All right, it's another power chord, incidentally. We don't need to worry about it is. We're working around this power chord. We don't stop thinking about what every chord is that you're playing. We're just making some nice tunes by ear here. So if I'm working around this power chord and I want to change the bass line, just improvising. top notes became the melody, bottom notes with the bass line there. Beautiful. And we're not thinking about the chord names. I'm going to repeat that because it bears repeating. But what about if we want to add something higher? I've got these fingers and even a thumb. They can add in other notes. So nice. Well, that's that seventh, isn't it? That major seventh. But don't worry about it. We've created some pretty big, nice sounding Lush chords there, just working around the power chord, right? Easy. And I'm not thinking about what they're called. Sorry. What about if I play something up there, but I'd leave all the other notes open? And I do a little bit of glide strumming, and I move it around. Lovely. I think so. Oof. I'm always thinking about the strategy when I'm writing. I'm trying to think of the strategy of how to best move my fingers around to make it easy to play. We don't want to make it harder for ourselves. Oof, that's a bit tricky actually. And I'm just writing on the fly here. This is how I write. This is how I write quite a lot of the time. People ask how I come up with all these weird, wonderful chord progressions. Or horrible chord progressions sometimes. This is part of it. This is a big part of it. You can do this. You can go away and write something today, tomorrow. Do it today though, because if you do it tomorrow, you'll just not do it. One more thing that we can add to this really simple little exercise. It's used a lot in grunge, a lot in shoegaze as well though. So we're just starting off with that power chord there. We'll just use one finger. We're just playing these two open strings here. So we're playing on the D string here, just improvising. Just playing the A and the D string here. Our fingers on the D string. Just seeing what sounds nice. Ideas come very, very quickly when you write like this. Lovely. It's very organic. We're not thinking about what the 5 chord is resolving to the 1 and how to think about secondary dominance. We're just organically writing, playing it by ear in a very, very easy, natural way that the guitar is particularly set up with. The guitar writes in this way particularly well. We're using the guitar to its strengths. And that would be, if I play that here, I know that wherever I move it, it's still going to be that interval, that power chord. You don't get that on a piano. You might get that on a saxophone. I don't know. I don't play the saxophone. I don't think that you do though. So not only can we use power chords to write clear simple, effective chord progressions. We've written some riffs there. Turn that into an A section and a B section. You got yourself a song. Do it today. Don't do it tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much to all the Patreons. Ask me any questions that you want to. I love talking about this stuff. Ask me in the comments. You might as well subscribe, I think, if you've got this far in the video. But your likes, subscribes are... it's all very much appreciated. I love hanging out like this. Let me know what you get up to. Let me know if it allows you to write something today, not tomorrow.